What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Snipe Celly Extreme Home Makeover Edition. Joel, you and I are both renovating our podcast spaces here. You kind of gave us a teaser of it during the last show. I, of course, let's see, what's probably the best way to do it? Have the sports wall up behind me now, having relocated the office into the guest bedroom. So
you have a much more podcast-friendly background. Mine's just the back of my living room, but you know.
I mean, the way you had it angled before, we could see the Avengers posters hanging on the back wall.
I should probably bring that back. You could also see my Christmas tree during the holiday season too, but
yeah.
And along with I have 2 Infinity Gauntlets over there, the Iron Man helmet, a Marian Hossa signed puck that you probably can't see from the camera. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure out the background. Dan, how's it going?
Doing all right. It's been a busy week, a good week.
Apparently, you switched offices. Apparently, it's been busy.
I did. We got Mark tuning in from the
our new favorite human, Mark.
Plugging the show. Say hi to Sam Wismer while you're there too. Sam is covering with the baby Pens. So I am almost certain that she's at the game. We got HP checking in as well.
HP's actually watching us. I'm going to chirp the shit out of him for missing the last 2 weeks. I don't care if you're driving a truck or not.
Yeah, but put us on, on the audio only feed. You don't have to comment. Just, drive safe.
Don't watch and drive.
That's all we ask.
As much shit as I'm going to give you, don't watch and drive, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, Mark, let us know the next time you're dropping an episode of the Black and Gold podcast, because we wanted to tune in when it's live for you as well. I listened to your January 6th episode today, and we gotta, next time you have one drop, let us know and we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll market you. You Mark actually makes me change my tune on Boston fans.
Oh, buddy, you just opened a whole can of worms.
I know.
All of that credit that he's just given to us, you just kicked.
No, I didn't. It's very well known that me and Boston have a rivalry, but it's only from a scant few people I know. Mark is totally opposite of that. So
yeah, but when you say it like that,
that's not what I meant.
They're going to shut us off before we even get into the show.
Oh, nonsense! That's not true at all. They had one of my favorite players of all time that isn't a Hawk. Can you guess who that is?
I mean, a few.
In our lifetime. I'm not.
In our lifetime.
I'm not talking.
Bergeron.
Correct.
I was gonna say him, Chara, maybe McAvoy would be on that list.
Oh, I do love me Charlie McAvoy, but it's mostly. I do love Chara too. Weekly podcast, audio and video, but not live. Okay, so you were right. It isn't live.
Yeah, I didn't think it was live, but I
listening
the video. So.
The video is what threw me for a loop, because I heard I listened to it a little bit too, and I heard you say something along the lines of like, "As you see here" or something. I'm like, oh, so he goes live. Cool.
HP was guessing Chara. He was with me in thinking that one might be up there. Who doesn't like Chara? Like, I can't think of anybody who doesn't have a reason.
Oh, Jeremy, what's up? Yeah. He's tuning into his he watches one episode a month, I think. This is probably the one in January. What's up, buddy? I am a big Chara guy.
Chara's a big Chara guy.
I think that was
he's 6'9".
Nice.
Exactly. Had to get that
See?
one in.
See, that's the thing. I want to get chirped. That's my thing. I'm the one we chirp back. We know each other now virtually. It's fine. The puns.
That's what we do on this show.
We're off to an exciting start to this episode, and that's good because it's kind of been an uneventful week in the NHL.
Kind of has. I mean, we should change the name to Snipe Celly at this point.
Yo.
So with it being kind of a weird point in the hockey season where not a lot of news going on, we're not yet to the trade deadline, we're not quite to playoff picture, sorting things out there. Been kind of a slow-ish week for hockey news, but one of the big things we wanted to take a look at was All-Star Weekend coming up. February 1st through the 3rd, it'll be in Toronto, and they did officially announce the rosters, including the fan vote, for the final spots. So I'm going to pop those up on the screen here.
Speaking of right
ahead.
off the bat, I love that they brought back the fan vote. That's how we got one of the best All-Star moments in All-Star Game history with John Scott winning the MVP. He wouldn't have made it without the fan vote. I'm so happy they brought it back.
Mhm. Yeah, they literally tried to force a trade to try and keep him from getting to the All-Star game.
And it's just the perfect. Go look it up. Anyone listening to this, if you've never seen it, go look it up. John Scott wins All-Star Game MVP, and just look into the eyes of both John Scott and Gary Bettman as he's presenting him the MVP, because you can tell how much Bettman hates it and just is clenching his teeth with it. And then you can also see on John Scott's face how he's just like, "Sup, bitch? You didn't think you'd be handing this to me, did you?"
No, nobody thought that John Scott was going to be winning
He
All-Star
earned
Game
it.
MVP, and he did. He earned it.
Yeah, I think he had 2 goals and an assist in that final round. Was that when they started the 3-on-3? No, that wouldn't have been the 3-on-3.
That wasn't the first year 3-on-3, but that was, I think, maybe like year 2 or 3. It was very early on in the 3-on-3 All-Star Game format.
Yeah. But also, while we're talking about it, I want people in the comments to sound off like, do you care when the All-Star weekend comes up? That's like the biggest topic of any All-Star. And a fight, that's true. Yeah, him and Patrick Kane dropped the gloves.
Patrick Kane would have just gotten the brakes beat off. Patrick Kane would be a pulp on the ice if they fought for real.
Yeah.
Deanna chiming in, all-time All-Star moment for me. Yeah.
Same. Absolutely.
Who didn't love John Scott?
I love
incredible story.
Not to digress again, but I mentioned my other background with the Hossa puck on my shelf over there. Below that is actually a John Scott autographed puck too, which pretty much meant not that much until that moment, and then that thing's value just skyrocketed for me.
Yeah, that would do it. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference All-Stars, and I'm going to put the banner down because it's covering up some of the names here.
Go ahead.
Players who are marked with the asterisk were the ones who got in with the fan vote. Joel, let's have you read off the Atlantic Division All-Stars there.
Yep. So representing the Bruins, we got David Pastrnak and then Jeremy Swayman via the fan vote. Then Rasmus Dahlin from the Sabres, Alex DeBrincat, my boy, from the Red Wings, Sam Reinhart from the Panthers via fan vote. The number 1 cop on the force, Sergei Bobrovsky from the Panthers. Nick Suzuki from the Canadiens, Brady Tkachuk from the Senators, Nikita Kucherov from the Lightning, Austin Matthews from the Leafs, and then 3 more Toronto Maple Leafs fan vote, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and Morgan Riley. I don't really see that many surprises in this list.
I think the one that is maybe a surprise to me on that list, just looking at that is just so many forwards. Like, I'm a little surprised that there's not more defenseman representation in that group. But the important thing to remember too is that they are going to have drafted rosters this year. They're bringing back the draft.
That's the most important part. I'm very excited for them to do that. I know the NBA does it, and that's usually kind of fun, even though I don't really watch that one much. I still watch the NBA one more than see, we love it here off the force, Bobrovsky. Oh, we got Joey's here. Here we go. It's a party now. Mark II, Swayman. I mean, that via fan vote, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Pasta.
No, I don't think any of the fan votes surprised me and how they panned out, because you look at where
Morgan Riley
fan votes came from. Colorado, Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, and then Boston for Swayman.
It's just confusing that Morgan Riley.
Yeah, that one was probably, I think, a little surprising to me, but
also, again, you could tell the friggin' pull that vote had in Toronto when you have 4 total members of the Maple Leafs representing via fan vote. Obviously, Austin Matthews, of course, but you literally you might as well have taken their entire top line. That's basically what they did.
Pretty much.
Go ahead with the Metro Division, Dan.
Yeah, for the Metro, we had Sebastian Aho with the Carolina Hurricanes, Boone Jenner with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It got cut off on the graphic there. Jack Hughes with the New Jersey Devils. Hughes, it sounds like he'll be injured. He's not going to be able to play. Someone will be replacing them. Probably Jesper Bratt would be my guess.
Yeah.
This one was the surprise for me with the Metro, and I'm just going to call that one out right now. Matthew Barzal getting the vote for the New York Islanders. Noah Dobson, third in defenseman in points, second on the team, 2 back of Barzal. And you look at the other forwards that are going to be represented in the Eastern Conference, you need some more defense in there. And I think Dobson really took a big step forward this year. Probably should have gotten the nod over Barzal, but
I think name recognition got him over there instead.
Yeah, if you're looking at who's having the better season overall, for me, it's Dobson.
It's Dobson. No, it totally is.
If you're looking at name power, and Jeremy in the comments is getting to the next one that surprised me here. Travis Konechny, no surprise there. He's having a monster year for the Flyers this year. Sidney Crosby on track for just another outstanding season, as he does. And then Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals.
And Jeremy's comment is right up there. Is Tom Wilson having a good year? I always thought he was just a coon. Pretty much most people always thought that. And it kind of still holds true. But Dan, what are his stats this year?
I was going to say, normally you look at somebody who's representing a team at the All Star Game at somebody who is leading the team in goals. And in Wilson's defense, he is tied for second with 12, but he's trailing Dylan Strome. Maybe on the assists, no, he only has 8, and on points, 20. So 4th in points, 2nd in goals, and a whopping 72 penalty minutes. He is almost to 2 PIMs a game. That one to me is a bit of a head scratcher. I know for years you could just pencil in Alex Ovechkin to that spot. Ovechkin does lead the team in points. Dylan Strome's got 15 goals. He would be, in my book, a more worthy nom than Tom Wilson.
Totally.
And just from a skills element, what he would bring, I think would be a better representation for the skills competition and for the 3-on-3 as a whole.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of weird. When they first announced the roster, when I was going through and I saw that, I was like, really? Like Tom Wilson? I mean, hold on a second. We got a question. Always no rush. What do you mean? No rush on this question. But I wanted Joel's opinion on the Hawks to Nordy tilt against Scott Sebra the other night. Yeah, I mean, Tenorti, that's pretty much all he really offers. But that was an absolute heavyweight bout. Like that was an absolute heavyweight fight. I watched the replay of it. It's fun to see, and I mean, Tenorti's, hey, you know what? He's there. He tries. He's just not very good, and quite frankly, the heavyweight fight is pretty much all he's good for. But it was pretty fun to watch when the heavyweights are just throwing bombs at each other. It's always fun to watch. That the old school mentality kicks in a little bit when you watch those types of fights.
Good kid, tries hard, loves the game.
I mean, pretty much it. When you watch him live, my God, is he terrible. But you know what? We don't really, with our IR list, like, we need somebody back there. We need bodies. Like, I'll take it.
You know, you could almost do what the Newfoundland Growlers in the ECHL did and sign Terry Ryan, who Shoresy fans will know him as Hitch. Montreal Canadiens fans will. Yeah, did you not hear about this?
No.
Oh yeah, they
signed a dude from Shoresy.
Yeah, so he used to play. He was a former draft pick of the Montreal Canadiens and played a few games in the show. But most recently, he has been acting as my favorite character on Shoresy, playing Hitch. And Joel, you got to watch Shoresy, man.
I know.
Like,
what is there one season still, or are they on?
There are 2 seasons, but they are 6-episode seasons. You can honestly finish all of that like in a weekend afternoon.
I will probably catch up on that before I finish all of Letterkenny, to be honest with you.
Oh, for sure. I don't think. I mean, for me personally, Shoresy over Letterkenny.
Really?
I think the writing is better. I think the storytelling is better. The characters are fascinating. It's
all right. Fair, fine. I'll do it. But all right, let's get on to the other. Let's get on to the West.
There we go. Western Conference. Do you want to start with the Central here?
Sure. All right. So Clayton Keller representing the Coyotes. Obviously, Connor Bedard representing the Blackhawks, but it still remains to be seen if we're going to be sending someone else, depending on how the recovery from Bedard's jaw surgery goes. He's back skating. We'll probably touch on that later during the show, but he is back skating.
We can touch on it now.
Yeah, I mean, so the update on him, I mean, he got the 6 to 8 week timeline after the successful surgery on his jaw. 7 days after the surgery, which would have been a couple days ago, he was back, or yesterday, I'm sorry. He was back on the ice, just skating around, non-contact jerseys, taking shots, but specifically, he's got very specific rules from the coaching staff and the doctors of no activity that, quote, will cause you to clench your teeth, obviously. So he can't be doing bag skates or anything that's going to make him kind of really have to chug. And ideally, always he's got the full fishbowl on. And ideally, they don't really. Originally, they said they don't want him taking slap shots. I think he's doing that anyway, just kind of being careful about it or staying away from any drills that involve slap shots from the rest of the team. He has to stay on the other side. So he'll
full non-contact jersey.
Yeah. So
for the next couple of weeks,
it kind of remains to be seen whether he'll actually be representing the Hawks there. It's going to depend. If anything, he'll just be there as like an off ice kind of ambassador, I guess, just because obviously he brings attention and, for the kids and all that stuff. So we'll see. But I'll get to who I think they'll send if they don't send Bedard. But anyway, Nathan McKinnon from the Avalanche. Now we got 2 fan votes as well from the Avalanche with Alexander Georgiev and then Cale Makar, which Cale Makar makes a lot of sense. Georgiev, I mean, Colorado definitely took over some voting there. That's a little interesting, but I mean, he's playing well. Jake Ottinger from the Dallas Stars, no surprise there. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov from the Wild, no surprise there. Phil Forsberg,
slight surprise there. I thought maybe Joel Eriksson Ek would get the nod with the year he's having, but I can't argue with Kaprizov.
Yeah, if it's that close, this is a name recognition thing.
Yeah.
And an excitement factor, not the Joel Eriksson. Like, hey, we Joel's got to stick together. But
yeah, he should be a Selke finalist this year. If he keeps putting up numbers that he's been putting up, there's no reason he shouldn't be a Selke finalist.
What else we got? Robert Thomas from the St. Louis Blues. That makes sense. I said Philip Forsberg from the Preds. Also makes sense. And then Connor Hellebuck from the Jets. Also very much makes sense. And really quick. Actually, I'll save that comment for a minute. This was chirping me for the Connor Bedard stuff. Yeah, you know what? He is built different. He is. He's going to come out in a non-contact jersey in his first game back. You know what? Hey, HP, guess what? We have Bedard and you don't. All right, Dan, go ahead. Read the Pacific Division.
In the Pacific Division, I'm just gonna, let me just wipe my eye here. I think I got something. A minute. Pacific Division, Frank Vetrano from the Anaheim Ducks, Elias Lindholm from the Calgary Flames, Connor McDavid from the Edmonton Oilers.
What?
Yeah, imagine that.
What?
Cam Talbot from the LA Kings.
Oh, what? Actually, no. You know what? I take that back. Cam Talbot does make sense. He's having a nice bounce back year.
Well, and they needed to get another Pacific Division goalie in because Thatcher Demko, I mean, he should have been probably in on the first swing.
Right. Totally.
Thomas Hertl from the San Jose Sharks. San Jose probably shouldn't be sending anybody this year, but
everybody gets one rep.
Oliver Toronto Bjorkstrand. Did you happen to see that one, Joel?
Oliver Toronto Bjorkstrand. What?
So Oliver Bjorkstrand, they called him into Dave Haxtell, the coach of the Seattle Kraken, called Bjorkstrand into his office and asked about his plans for during the All-Star break. And he said he's taken a trip with his family to, I think it was San Diego. Wanted to go somewhere warm, take the kids, go on a trip. And then they announced, well, I got to tell you, you're going to have to cancel that trip because you're going to Toronto, and you're going to be a member of the All Star roster. And the look on this man's
face I did see this. Yeah.
Of pure disgust in the fact that he had, instead of going to San Diego, is going to Toronto. And like the way he said it too, like there is zero chance that Bjorkstrand didn't think he was getting traded to Toronto. Like the way Hackstall said it, it seemed like he was going to be traded. And how like it was honestly uncomfortable to watch.
I do remember watching that, and I was like, damn, hell of an indictment on the All-Star weekend, unless he obviously thought he was getting traded and kind of had a different reaction as a result. But and as you're going over the final couple names, I saved this. I will throw this up there. Yes, the Western Conference Canucks.
Yeah, because Quinn Hughes got in with the main vote, and then during the fan vote, Brock Besser, Thatcher Demko, JT Miller, and Elias Pettersson all made it. Leon Draisaitl also made it in the fan vote for Edmonton. And then Jack Eichel, who there's another one that is going to be replaced down the line because Eichel underwent surgery, so he's going to be out a couple more weeks yet.
Yep.
But on the whole, I think they did a respectable job with the rosters. Joel, is there anybody that stands out to you? I mentioned my snub, Noah Dobson, not being someone who made it to the game this year. Is there anybody that to you stands out as kind of a big All-Star Game snub?
It's interesting. Usually I have like a big opinion on it, but not really. I mean, yeah, normally I can kind of, because like with the fan vote, some of them got in, like you mentioned, Thatcher Demko being a big snub, or Quinn Hughes, but they both got in. So, I mean,
because there was another one that jumped out to me that I thought you would have been all over.
You know what? I am. You said Noah Dobson, and I do notice one name, and that's Jason Robertson.
Yeah, that's another one.
To me, that's a little odd to me. Well, who are you thinking?
I was thinking you were going to pounce on Artemi Panarin.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to jump right back to the Eastern Conference and say, where the hell is my boy Artemi Panarin?
Yeah.
So you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, those two that's I mean, if you're going to really argue biggest snubs, those two names are the biggest star-studded names. And then I agree with you with Noah Dobson. I think he got left out based on a name. That's pretty much. And really quick, I want to get to a couple questions about the All-Star Game that we let go while we were doing the rosters here. So Deanna chiming in. So I used to get hyped for the All-Star weekend, but now it's mainly the same players over and over. Much prefer the AHL style without the gimmicks and true focus on a diverse mix of players.
Yeah, the AHL All Star Game, they really get that weekend right, and it really is who is having the best year, not necessarily who are the biggest names, not necessarily who are your such and such players on a victory lap. So they're taking their final season and we're voting them in. Maybe you get a little bit of that, but it really is a focus on who the stars are for that given season.
I agree. And quite frankly, I'd like to, I want to go back and pinpoint, because you know what? The NHL used to be pretty good about doing that. I think.
Well, I think it goes back to the John Scott incident.
Well, right. Well, and I was about to argue, like, the 2010s. I think every All-Star game in the 2010s era, maybe leading up to maybe just around there. What was that? Was that 2016, I think? 2017, maybe? I can't remember when.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, so right around, actually, ironically, right before they implemented the 3-on-3 rule and stuff. Right before they implemented that, I always thought they were pretty good about it. But you're right. Now that it's, like we see it right here, there's a lot of, like, there's some names left off where you'd think if they did get included. But I don't know. I do agree, though. It really should be, like, showcase the All-Stars. If there's no name recognition, like, now, from a marketing standpoint, the NHL have to do the best job there. They are still 4 out of 4. They're not ahead of any of the they're still bottom 4 of the major 4 sports. So they do have to have marketable names there. And this year, I don't know. I think they did a decent job of not being super egregious about, like, yep, they're there just because they're there. Go.
Yeah.
But you got to find
maybe one other name just to throw it out there, Aiden Hill. Because you're
absolutely, but he is hurt. He's hurt too, though.
Okay. I mean, but again, you give them the nomination and then you figure out how you have to replace them as needed.
I agree. More questions or more comments on it. So Mark chiming in, while I'm not a fan of the All-Star Game these days, I'm happy that many stars are attending to be ambassadors of the game and not taking a suspension for not attending. Oh, totally. If they ever were forcing players to be this ambassador that Mark's mentioning, like, that's when the PA needs to step in if that ever happened.
Yeah, and they have implemented the fines for players who didn't want to go or would take the game suspension, and you're suspended without pay for that game. Ovi used to do that. Crosby used to do that. I think they've gotten a little better about it, but I think part of that as well comes from putting on a better overall product for that weekend.
Right. And they do make, like, they put on a better product for the fans, but they make it more fun for the players too. Like, they make you want to go. Yeah, even if you're not that big on going, like, they still make you want to, I think they love the camaraderie. Like, they love to go hang out with all the other big stars of the league that they normally wouldn't get to, shoot the shit with and talk the game with and everything. Right. And I'd even go even deeper and say, like, maybe that they go to learn. Like, they don't get to talk to these guys. They don't get to talk to all these other star players. Go learn something from them, regardless of who you are. I'm sure even Crosby does it, and he has nothing to learn. I don't think he has much to learn anymore, right?
See, he would tell you otherwise, because that's how Crosby operates. There's always something more that he can be learning.
Well, exactly, right.
They're doing.
But
they even stretch this out now, so it's going to be a 3-day affair. So that Thursday, they'll have the draft, and then they'll have the PWHL, a 3-on-3 game. I think they're drafting the rosters for that one as well. They're announcing the NHL Alumni Man of the Year and then honoring the 1967 Toronto Maple Leafs team. Friday, they're doing the skills competition. And Joel, let me ask you this: do you get more excited for the skills competition or for the 3-on-3 game?
I have 2 answers to that.
I mean, there are only 2 options, so which is it?
I used to get excited for the skills competition more than the game. Now that's changed a little bit because of the 3-on-3 tournament style that they do.
I'm still more in on the skills competition, and they made a few changes this year too that I think are gonna.
That's been the thing too. They add different things. They do different games depending on where they host. Like the Vegas ones they did, those were amazing. Those are still probably some of my favorite ones. Doing the saucer pass challenge on the Bellagio fountain, like that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean that was cool. I don't think they necessarily explained it well. Like from the broadcast side, there were some technical issues and whatnot.
It was a weird thing. I get it, but
confusing, and they didn't necessarily explain it well. But as far as the just entertainment factor of that was fun to see.
Oh, absolutely. And
then Saturday the 3rd, that's when the actual All Star Game is.
Yeah. Hold on. We catch up with a couple others. Jeremy chiming in. MLB did a veteran nominations in the All Star Game with Miggy Cabrera and Albert Pujols a few years back. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy also chimed in with a question: who would you want to put in the NHL All Star Game if they are past their prime? I mean, yeah, that's fair, but I don't know anybody past their prime right now that's even earned a spot.
I think what he's asking though is if you were picking somebody who it's like, yeah, they're past their prime, but they're going to do like a victory lap.
Oh yeah, no,
deal. If you're picking somebody like that, who would you pick to do that? Probably Joe Pavelski.
Joe Pavelski or
maybe Mark Giordano.
I mean, Alex Ovechkin, he's not there this year.
Right, Brent Burns,
Erik Karlsson, maybe.
HP. Joking. I'm not sure if he was throwing this out there or not, but yeah, Ryan Suter.
Yeah, get that scrub out of here.
Fleury.
Oh, absolutely Fleury, especially after what he just did.
Yeah, we didn't even mention Fleury moving into second place on the all-time wins list. So far, we're a half hour into the show, and I didn't mention that.
Oh, we got a hot take in the comments too. 3-on-3 isn't hockey. That's your dad, right?
That's my dad. Yep.
I don't know, Mr. I got to disagree there.
I think just between the two, the skills showcase the skills more than the 3-on-3.
I don't disagree. I think even when they implemented the 3-on-3 stuff, I still lean towards the skills. The skills are more fun. Minus the fastest skater. That I don't really care that much about that one.
I mean, fastest skater and hardest shot. Those two I'll always tune in for those.
I'm saying I actually don't care that much for the fastest skaters. Hardest shot, I love.
I fastest skater is interesting, but even more than that to me is when they have the agility course, because your straight line speed is one thing. Your edge work to get through the course quickly as well, even more so. I will say I do think a 3-on-3 is a better way to end the game than a shootout.
Well, yeah.
Honestly, I wish the NHL would do continuous 3-on-3 overtime and get rid of the shootout.
The NHL, well, yes, I know. We've talked about that.
We have. But again, for newer listeners who haven't heard this take before.
Yeah, Dan, for anyone tuning in new, which we've gotten a lot of new listeners and viewers over the past few weeks, thank you, Mark and Deanna. They've definitely helped with that for sure, specifically. Dan absolutely hates the shootout. I'm still okay with
Always
it.
Have.
And last night, case in point, for the Celebrini Bowl, 1 of 3 was last night, the Hawks versus the Sharks, and it went into a 9-round shootout. And the Hawks ended up winning it. Horse could shoot, baby.
San Jose needs Celebrini so bad.
They do. And quite frankly, I'm willing to let them have him. I'm not going to sit here and bitch and moan if we don't get Celebrini. I don't expect to get Celebrini. So,
especially if you get to pick 2nd overall and you get to take Cole Eiserman.
Right. Or 3rd overall and take any of the other prospects we talked about. But prospect talk is for the offseason.
Prospect talk is probably for a couple of weeks here when we get after the trade deadline. And hey, these are the names that you're going to want to start knowing.
Right. When the draft starts to round out.
Right.
I love Mark's comment here. This is an important time to grow our sport, and we need today's stars to harness that attention from younger fans to build future generations of hockey fans. That's the exact point why I love the idea of, if you're not going to have Bedard specifically, I know I'm going to Bedard, but regardless, if you're not going to have him compete in anything, which it sounds like he might not be able to, if he can't do something like clenching his jaw, what the hell are you going to have him compete in? Maybe the shootout, which is what I would assume he would have competed in.
I mean, maybe you have him as someone who's like pushing pucks for the one-timer competition.
Just to be there.
Yeah, just so he's there, so he can make an appearance.
Then they usually
take pictures.
They usually have like the good passers that are at the games doing that too. That's fair. So
they have people who are designated to do that. But
I'm with Mark. Like you have to have those names, and this year the biggest name of the 2023-4 season is Connor Bedard. Like that, even if he's not competing, which he just can't. Like I don't mind having him go if he's able to fly and everything. I don't know how that type of surgery works. I assume you can fly and all that, but I don't know. So I agree, but that's the thing. That's why, to an extent, I don't mind some name value getting taken over actual this season production value. Don't do it too much.
There's a balance.
There's a balance.
You
I
need
think
to reward current season production.
I'd argue this year's it's a decent balance.
Yeah. I think more balanced than some of the other recent years.
The only one that seems to stick out to me is we talked about it is the Barzal one, but Barzal was a big name coming in.
Well, he still leads the Islanders in points. So it's not like, Dobson has got a 10-point lead on him or anything like that.
Right. Now, the total opposite of putting in star power is bringing in Tom Wilson.
Wilson's not a bad player.
No, but
he just, to me, he's not who you would want representing at the All Star Game.
Exactly. Any other comments we want to grab real quick? Oh, Guile chiming in.
Question from Guile.
Well, first off, he chimed in with hope it's full on game and not the exhibition. Well,
yeah, it's going to be an exhibition. These guys aren't going to put themselves in a position where they're going to get hurt for a game that doesn't mean anything towards the end of the season. But I do like this one. What would you think about doing a veterans game, bringing back recent retirees to play? They did something kind of like that a couple of years ago.
I was going to say, didn't they do some sort of alumni thing? Like they didn't televise it, I don't think, but they did it for the weekend or something.
They've done it for example, Winter Classics or Stadium Series, because they had prior to the Minnesota-Chicago Stadium Series game, they had an alumni game. I think they were going to have one for the Wild and the Blues, but it was too cold to do the alumni game, so they pulled the plug on that.
That's what I was thinking of. I remember seeing all the interviews for the game we went to, the Minnesota-Chicago Stadium Series. I remember seeing like the interviews of Dino Ciccarelli with Jeremy Roenick and stuff like that. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And this is another interesting idea too. Doing a prospect game for upcoming players. My concern there is how do you balance that?
They also did
AHL. You just had World Juniors, which kind of is your prospect showcase on an international stage.
And arguably, I'd want to showcase that over just the All-Star weekend for them.
Right, but if you're doing like
they did this though. They did this once.
The NBA used to have, or I don't know if they still have it. They probably still do, like a Rising Stars game. So it's players who are like 23 and under.
Jeremy, chime in. You would know.
Up and coming players. Something like that, where you're picking, 23 and under players to showcase that sort of thing, and it could be guys who are playing well at the AHL, guys who are playing well internationally to put in for a game like that. It would take some serious coordination to pull all that off, though.
So they did this. They did this slightly. I think it was the first year they went to the 3-on-3 tournament. Mm-hmm. One of the conferences was the under 23 team or whatever it was. And it was when McDavid was still really young. So McDavid was on the team. I think.
Or was it when they did like the World Hockey Classic thing?
Oh, that's what it was. My bad. You're right. It was the World Hockey Classic, and they did.
Yeah, and
they had like Team USA
as well.
Yes. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. All right, I got that mixed up. I remember they did that. I was like, "This is odd," but I remember.
Yeah, interesting concept. And
McDavid was on that team at the time when they did it. I think McKinnon was on that team too at the time. North America. So I remember it being So that was what I was thinking of. Never mind.
All good. And there's one more thing about the All-Star Game that we couldn't not touch on.
Oh, God.
And that is how god-awful the jerseys are. Now, we need to start with the disclaimer that it was Justin Bieber and his apparel company in partnership with Adidas that made these jerseys happen. These might be the worst All-Star Game jerseys. Nameplate below the numbers. Rough look.
Yep.
All lowercase for the names. Like, that's confirmed. They are not doing uppercase lettering. It's all lowercase.
I gotta be honest with you. I actually didn't even notice that the first time I looked at them, so that just made it worse.
Yeah, all lowercase, nameplate below the numbers, and the Comic Sans font with 22-inch crest on the front of the jerseys. It's one of the biggest crests ever to be featured on a jersey, and they just look kind of ugly.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of these jerseys at all.
No, I'm not. If I wanted to dive deeper and be a little nicer about it, I would say that the white one is probably the only one that really looks halfway decent.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because
the red is
the red too. I was going to say the
color
red too.
They've used before, like that scheme.
The red too. The red too looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the red and the white were the only two where I was like, I could get behind this. I'm not going to be overjoyed about it, but I could get behind it. The blue and the yellow one though are just disgusting. It's oh god, they're ugly. And quite frankly, no, I didn't know that it was a combo of Justin Bieber and his clothing line or whatever the hell you said. But
yeah, that's the partnership. Tell me if you agree with this one or not.
All right, go.
The blue jersey looks like a Kraft mac and cheese box.
Oh my god, it does.
Like I can't look at that and not see Kraft.
The Comic Sans letters even look like the noodles.
Exactly right. Like
holy shit, I didn't realize that.
Like that's just they're bad. But
oh god, it's obnoxious. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Oh, wait, we got to look this up. Did you see the Patrick from SpongeBob edit with the oh yes, I sent it to Dan and HP. Yes, I did.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Where it's actually Patrick Starr as the cabaret dancer. That made them look okay.
Yeah, the Patrick Starr logo would be an improvement.
Yeah. We got Guile All-Star Puke. Looks like the 80s took over. Right, exactly. Like, look, I'm not against doing throwback type styles, but not like this. This ain't it.
No.
Mark chiming in so bad. Wish I had the gif of Junko. Come on. Yeah, and then HP chiming in too. I like the red, blue, white, and yellow colors, but the design is horrific.
Yeah.
And actually, like, I agree with him, but it's such a fall off. And this is impromptu. I wish I would have done this ahead of time and asked you, but what year were your favorite?
I'd really have to go back and look through the jersey history to come up with what I think was.
I would too.
A favorite.
That'll
be our homework, and we can talk about that after the All Star game.
All right, that's fair. We can do that. We will stay tuned. We will review Dan and I's favorite All Star year jerseys. I have a couple of years in my mind, but I'm trying to remember what year it was. I have the range. I don't remember specifically what year it was though. So yeah,
I can tell you it will not be this year's.
No, not at all. No, it will not.
That's enough ripping on the All Star game. Wanted to talk for a quick second about this one that actually just came out today. That Amazon is going to be partnering with Diamond Sports Group. It sounds like it's going to be roughly $115 million from Amazon to
pocket change,
offset Diamond Sports Group's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. These regional sports networks are going to have their content aired on Amazon Prime. Sounds like it's going to be a deal where if you have Prime, it's like an add-on that you can do to get it. Like it won't be part of your Prime subscription, but
part of your Prime subscription. Interesting.
Yeah, it won't be a part of it, but you can add it on, probably for like an extra $2-3 a month or something like that. Wouldn't be a whole lot. But it sounds like also they might get to retain the names of the network, and so have it be, for example, something like Bally Sports North brought to you by Amazon or something like that. I have some concerns about this, as I do about a lot of things. But
so really quick before you get into it, just to preface for anyone else who doesn't know what the hell this is. Anyone listening in Illinois, this doesn't affect us. This is all what Bally, right? This is basically what that's what
So it's the Bally Sports Network. So they have 18 networks that are under that banner.
It's a map.
And that covers 37 professional teams. It's 11 baseball teams, 15 NBA, and 11 NHL. The Minnesota Wild are one of those NHL teams. The Columbus Blue Jackets are one of those teams.
And I guess I should take back my comment. Not Illinois, but Chicago. Anyone in Chicago shouldn't. This doesn't affect you, but most of Illinois it affects because it includes the Blues and the Cardinals.
Yeah, Midwest. Yeah, Bally Sports Midwest. So you get the Cardinals and the Blues on that one.
The Pacers, the Royals.
Pacers.
Oh wow! I did know this. The Pistons, Tigers, and Red Wings. The Blue Jackets. From a hockey perspective, it really affects the Kings, the Ducks, the Coyotes, the Stars, the Lightning, and the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Predators, the Blue Jackets, like I said, the Red Wings, like I said, the Blues, like I also said, and then the Wild.
The Blue Jackets.
I said the Blue Jackets.
Oh, okay.
Twice.
I heard Blues. I didn't hear Blue Jackets.
I said the Blue Jackets twice, Dan. Listening is a skill.
One of them was Blues. At least one of them was Blues.
I said them twice, too.
Okay. Anywho.
The Hawks fans, we don't really.
Point being, this affects roughly a third of the teams in the league. And because the NHL doesn't have the same revenues as Major League Baseball, as the NBA, there was major concern over what this would do for product accessibility and are people able to watch the game at all. And as HP reminds us every week, Bally's product, especially if you're doing these streaming, absolutely sucks. Yeah.
Why can't we just let Bally die, HP says?
Because Bally's is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they have more verticals than just their regional sports networks.
Chicago is literally opening one of the first ever onshore casinos from Bally in the city soon. Well, they already opened it, but they're building the new facility for it.
Yeah, so Bally is not going away.
Guile chimes in too, which you're talking about. Like, we need to buy programs to watch games. What do the teams get out of that fee? I would have. Was there details on that, Dan? Before I even answer and speculate,
there's not a specific publicly available revenue split. Like,
to me, I'm assuming the leagues would retain whatever agreement they have right now until that agreement, longevity or, deadline ends. And then obviously they'd have to rework some things depending on what Amazon is willing to do. But I assume it won't change that much. It's still a cut, just like they get from
it's a partnership because Prime is going to need the content to air. Diamond Sports Group needs the content to air. Right. The NHL needs the content to air. And Mark kind of touched on one here as well. Individual organizations need to do their own live streams of the games where there are no blackouts. That is one thing that was touched on with this deal that does give me a little bit of hope. Is it sounds like regional blackouts will no longer be a thing. When I was living in Duluth, I'll
believe it when I see it.
When I was living in Duluth, you could have a Minnesota Wild game blacked out, and it's not feasible to get from finish work in Duluth, drive down to the cities and catch the game. It's just not realistic. But
I agree.
Big chunks of Minnesota, that was part of the issue, is the game would be blacked out, and you couldn't choose which parts of the network got blacked out and didn't get to have that game.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. Like, we have to open the NHL game worldwide and take in that money from the growing. Totally, it's blackouts to me are, from a fan perspective, it's stupid, and I guess I'll just never understand why it happens. But I guess from the business side, I do somewhat understand, because there's local channels and such that they clash up against, and that's kind of where some of the blackout rules come from. There's a lot more to it than that, but just from a high level, that's
That, and you
part
make
of
more
it.
money from somebody showing up at the arena to watch the game than sitting at home to watch the game.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Right, exactly. So yeah.
Mm.
Mark chiming in with what we all agree with. The NHL is terrible at marketing their sport, and a reason why they continue to be the lower paying sports out of all. Oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, look, none of us hockey fans are delusional to the fact that we're ever going to surpass the NFL or the NBA. Or, I mean, actually, to me, there's a chance we could surpass the
And
MLB.
there was a time, there was a long time where the NHL was ahead of the NBA. And you know when that changed?
When Bettman took over.
Not when Bettman took over, but in 2004, 2005, when you had the lockout.
Oh, the lockout.
And ESPN's TV deal with the NHL was up, and the NBA's TV deal was up. And the NBA said, well, hey, you have all this extra airtime now. How about if you fill that with some NBA games? We'll rewrite an agreement. We'll come up with that. And you can cover our games. And if we need to back out because the NHL comes back, we can do that. But why don't you just give us the shot on that? And the NBA has dominated ESPN's wintertime sports coverage ever since.
Yep. Even now with the NHL coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. They are really bad at marketing. Now that we have the ESPN partnership, it's gotten better. ESPN's coverage started off really bad. Now I'd argue it's gotten better.
It's settled in.
It's settling in. But it's still got a long way to go. You still got some broadcasters on ESPN that just should not be broadcasting. They should not be doing play-by-play. I do love a lot of the analyst team. They bring in a PK Subban. They had Chris Chelios. He left. I don't know. I know we have differing opinions too. I like Bucci. I don't really like his play-by-play, but I do like Bucci in general. So yeah, we defer on that one.
We'll leave it at that.
I'm not disagreeing with you. His play-by-play is a little rough at times, but just him covering it in general, I do like. And Guile chiming in, blackouts are a cheap way to push people to go to weak teams that can't fill the seat. Totally.
Which is a vicious cycle, because then if you can't, even if the team is bad, why would I go pay a ton of money to go see a bad team when I can watch them from home at least and see that? But even if you're bad, you're not getting butts and seats, and you're blacking out the game so people can't watch anyway. You're killing the product overall.
Yep. And then Mark, ESPN was so bitter when the NHL locked out. Right. I mean,
we got to get to the pick segment here.
We do, but there was one thing you and I disagreed with on this.
What, with whether it's going to be a long run?
Well, remember you said something in our group chat.
Yeah. My concern is that for Amazon's investment, that they don't necessarily need it to be, a great success. They just need it to be successful enough.
Right.
Is there money coming in, and is there more money coming in than what it costs to run it? And if that is pennies on the dollar over that line, they're fine with that. There's not the same incentive for Amazon to really make it a superior product because there is no competing product. So to a degree, I mean, the NHL isn't going to get rid of its partnership deal with ESPN Plus. They're not going to get rid of their TV deals with ESPN and TNT. They're just not.
Right.
If they decide to exclusively have Amazon Prime where you can stream every team's games, and maybe this takes you get out of the deal with TNT. Maybe this takes you get out of the deal with ESPN Plus, because there are games right now that if a game is on TNT, it can't be aired on ESPN Plus.
And
for whatever reason, they clash on that.
I would stop you right there, because them getting out of ESPN Plus would also mean the ESPN deal not being re-signed, because it was part of the ESPN deal.
So what I'm saying is you need, the NHL so badly needs one central streaming site where you can get the games. And I should double down on that and say one legal streaming site, because we know there are pirate sites where you can watch the games, and
it's kind of it, man. But you're never going to be able to beat that. That's the problem.
No, but if you make it easier to watch out of market games, to watch in market games, and to not need 8 different subscriptions to watch everything, that will go a long way towards helping grow your game.
And where I disagreed with you, we won't spend too much time on it. I just wanted to say where I disagreed. Would I be surprised if that happened? Absolutely not. If Amazon just says, like, look, we paid, what was it, $115 million deal?
$115 million, yep.
So we pay
a minority stake.
Yeah, so we pay $115 million for it.
Mhm.
That's a parking ticket for Amazon. So that is what it is. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just took it over and maybe made a couple small cosmetic changes, whatever they got to do, and that's it, and then just left it kind of in the wind. But they're paying money for it. Whether it's a parking ticket fee or not, they're paying money for it. Amazon has always been in the business of making money. So I can't sit here and truly believe they're just going to buy it only to leave it the exact same way as it was. So they're going to do something with it. They'll make it better, but I guess just from what I've heard from you and Dan, or you and HP and others that have dealt with Bally, it's a low bar, I guess, to upgrade Bally's services.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to take a ton of investment, I wouldn't think.
And that almost fuels.
And we should mention this as well. They will keep the local on-air talent.
Of course they will.
For example, like Bally Sports before that, it was Fox Sports. So it was Fox Sports North. And then it was Bally Sports North. And now it's going to be whatever the new name is, or it could retain the Bally's branding. Not totally clear on that. But they are going to keep the local talent in place, which to me, that's important.
Yeah. So I disagreed. I think Amazon will improve it. They're paying money. 115 mil might not be much to them, but they're in the business of making money. So they're going to want to get a return out of their investment. So
I don't said the same thing about Bally's though. So
Amazon is much different than just Bally's.
True.
So anyway, let's get to
Amazon does have more video streaming infrastructure than Bally's.
And they have more money than Bally's.
And because I know I can hear State of Hoppy tuning in and commenting on this, it is Bally Sports North, but the company is the Bally's Corporation.
Yes.
So there's, just so everybody knows.
All right. So we got HP chiming in. If Amazon ever got rid of Audra Martin, I would show up with pitchforks and torches. It's fair. Dan, let's make some picks.
Pick segment. Joel, you went 3-0 last week.
I did.
And
broken into the 100 mark all time.
Mark, I got a bone to pick with your Boston Bruins because they blew my shot at a 3-0 week last week with the most lackadaisical effort I've ever seen from Pasta and from Marchand.
A secondary boys.
3-on-3 overtime. They gave up a goal to Alex Bleepin Pietrangelo on a 2-on-1 rush. Nowhere to be found.
Mark, what the fuck?
You know what I'm talking about, though, Mark. You saw the game. Marchand and Pasternak crossed each other over in the neutral zone because they were not playing the right sides or whatever. That led to a 2-on-1 break coming in the other way. Hampus Lindholm didn't get down to block the pass. Puck goes through, and Bruins lose in overtime.
I told you.
Killing me and giving Joel the 3-0 week. I have to sit with that now, knowing that that's how Joel got to the 3-0 week last week.
Hey, I rode with my secondary boys. The Golden Knights got that shit done.
Spoiler alert, Boston's coming back in the pick segment this week too, so we'll get into that. But we're going to start with the Minnesota Wild, plus 116, at the Tampa Bay Lightning, minus 140. This is the first of a multi-game road trip for the Wild because they'll have Tampa tomorrow, Thursday night, They'll have the Florida Panthers Friday night, and then I will be going to their game against the Carolina Hurricanes on Sunday up in Raleigh. Joel, starting off this road trip for the Wild, this to me screams trouble getting a Tampa Bay Lightning squad as injured as the Wild have been. They do have Kaprizov back. They do have Jonas Brodin back. But I am fully expecting a fat L in this one.
Sorry, but me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's not even much for me to analyze. I'm sorry, but I don't think you pull that one off.
Yeah, we don't need to go too in depth on this one, but Tampa coming into this season, better roster and to me, better team.
Wait, hold on. We got Sam has joined us.
Oh, does that mean chirps?
Oh, look, the correct hat and the shirt. Wow, Joel.
Yeah. Finally.
Well, Sam, I'm here to appease you. I need to wear the right hat. But
Sam, are you at the Wilkes-Barre game tonight with the baby Pens? If so, stop by and say hi to Mark.
Yeah.
Gotta get people connected here.
The Wild will be there playing. Oh, Sam trying back in. She is.
Yeah, Sam, Mark, go get introduced.
Yes, Sam.
Cool people meeting cool people. We always love that.
Cool, hardworking people meeting cool, hardworking people.
Mm.
Hey, speaking of, you're damn right I'm representing the original six. Come on. We've got to stick together there. Meanwhile, you got Dan over here with his team that is a turn of the century team. Anyway.
This guy. Second game of the night.
Mark knows Sam very well. Look at that.
Oh, perfect. Even better.
Look at that.
Everybody knows everybody.
So are we both taking Tampa? You're not even taking your boys?
Yeah. I love the Wild. I'm not expecting. I will be pleasantly surprised if they prove me wrong. At Tampa.
Yep.
The Colorado Avalanche at the aforementioned Boston Bruins. Joel, I am not sure whether I want to give Boston a second chance and say, hey, you were that close for me last week. Take care of business this week. Or if I pick Colorado out of spite. I really don't know what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to throw it to you first for what you're going to do.
I honestly, from an actual just betting standpoint, the Avs at plus money anytime you can do it is probably a solid deal.
Yes, there is that. But Colorado on the road, 11-8-3.
Yeah.
Boston at home, 13-3-3.
And that is exactly where I was going to read off, citing why this week I think I am going to take the Bruins. Last week I said my boys, my Knights would get it done. They did. This week, Bruins barn is another hard one to play, and I think the Bruins get this one done. Mark, don't let your boys screw me over this week. See? Yeah, I got you. I am going with the bees.
Mark, don't let them screw us over. I'm taking Boston too.
There we go.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Second week in a row. If they burn me, I'm not picking them again the rest of the year.
Oh, whoa.
During a pick segment. All the pressure on Boston.
Clip that. I'm marking that. No pun intended.
Unless we get like a weird night where there's like 3 games total, and then one of them is like Bruins.
You said you would never do it again. So you would have to go with the Shark.
Okay.
What have we not done for a while on the show, Dan? Do it for the bit.
For the bit. That's why we do things here.
And you got to let's fucking go as well.
There we go. We'll take
All right. So we both went Tampa. We both went Boston. Go ahead.
The New York Rangers minus 126 at the Vegas Golden Knights plus 105. As we mentioned earlier, no Jack Eichel for Vegas, thus the plus money there.
Yep.
Joel, who you riding with here?
This one actually is kind of tough for me.
Oh yeah, they're all tough this week.
Yeah. So the Rangers on the road, 13-7-2, nothing crazy. They're still first in the Metro, but they've been kind of dead even in their last 10, 4-5-1. So 13-7-2 on the road. Vegas now, yes, I know Eichel is not there, but 16-5-2 at home. What have I mentioned? The Golden Knights barn. T-Mobile Arena is probably the hardest barn to play in. I say it every week. We have them on the picks. I'm going 2 weeks in a row. Give me the Golden Knights, and on plus money. Absolutely, give me the Knights. Not even gonna think about it.
I'm going to give us something different here. I'm going to go with the Rangers.
You're probably going to actually be right about it. I just kind of had my pick locked in without even thinking about it.
It's close. I think these two teams would not be surprised to see them in the conference finals this year. They wouldn't play each other, but saying that they would make it to the conference finals.
Their respective conference finals. I get what you're saying.
Right. Finals.
Yeah, maybe.
They're good. They're good teams. They're balanced teams. They'll match up against each other well. I could see this one going to overtime.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do not take either of them on the puck line.
No. But I'm going to go Rangers here. I'll be different on that one. I'll take the Rangers. And Joel, we did my team, so we got to do yours, courtesy of the Buffalo snow delay. These teams were supposed to be playing tonight.
Right now.
They are not because, as we mentioned, Buffalo, a lot of snow. Joel, the Blackhawks plus 1.5 at minus 105 or the Sabres minus 1.5 at minus 114?
I'm going with my boys to cover. To win, probably not. But to cover, I think the Chicago Ice Hogs have been playing hard. They have been sticking in games. They haven't been getting blown out. Hell, they've also been winning games that they shouldn't be winning with all these injuries. So not many, obviously, not many wins, but more wins than you'd expect from how injured they are. The only thing I do want to check, it's not going to change my mind, but I'm curious how the Sabres have been doing. 5-4-1 in their last 10.
Not better recently, but
not great.
Really underwhelming, especially compared to where you had them coming into the season.
Right. I'm assuming Peter Mrazek will get the start for the Hawks, and that's exactly why I will take them to cover the plus 1.5, because Mrazek is playing out of his mind behind a team that can't defend for him. And he's playing his way into a potential contract extension. So, and I love it, the reemergence of Peter Mrazek. He literally even said, and I quote, "Coming to the Blackhawks saved my career."
I'm going to throw this one out there that he should have been considered as someone to potentially replace. Let me ask you this. Who do you think is going to replace Bedard in the actual game? I'm operating under the assumption Bedard's not going to play, but he'll still be there that weekend.
Yep.
Who do you think will take his spot in the All-Star Game lineup, and why will it be Nick Foligno?
Well, he's also injured. You got to remember that. He fractured his finger.
Well, yeah, but he'll be able to play by then, though, right? Another 2 weeks.
Another 2 weeks. Yeah, that's fair. I think they gave him a 3 to 4 week time frame. So, but the thing is I don't know if they would want him to risk any, aggravation of the injury for an All-Star game.
I'm seeing expected return for Foligno on Friday, according to Puckpedia.
He was already back skating, and I think he was even in a contact jersey. So yeah, I mean,
he'll be back. He could be
the one, but I think if they went based on, all right, I could see Foligno. But if you're going to send someone in Bedard's stead to at least play, no one has earned it more than Jason Dickinson. And
I can see that too.
Jason Dickinson he just got a contract extension, signed for a 2-year, $4.5 million AAV contract extension, and he's earned every bit of it. Yeah. Is it an overpayment for a guy that's, quote, breaking out this year? Of course it is. But we have to hit the cap floor anyway, so it's okay to overpay. And at this point, you don't want to start shipping off every single player that's pretty good on your team. Like when the Hawks are good again, I hope Dickinson is still here and he's rocking your bottom 6, because him on your bottom 6 means you're finally starting to get some depth back into your lineup. And Dickinson has been
not only
killing
that, taking that a step further, it means that you have spots in the top 6 for your prospects, which
exactly.
There's been some discussion in the Wild camp about now that they've extended some of the players they've expended, Freddie Gaudreau, Ryan Hartman, Marcus Foligno, have you log jammed yourself to the point where you haven't enabled spots in the top 6 for your up and coming guys, or even in the middle 6 to that degree?
Right.
Are you
Exactly.
going to have another Eric Hollis situation where you have a prospect who has a ton of talent, looks really good, can't get a chance beyond a 4th line role and has to go somewhere else and then tears it up somewhere else?
Right. But yeah, so that, to answer your question, absolutely. Jason Dickinson. I mean, he's already, so his best season in his career was last year with the Hawks at 30 points, 9 goals, and 21 assists. This year already, and it's January 17th, he has 14 goals, 7 assists, good enough for 21 points. And on a horrible team, he's a +7.
Yeah, that really kind of jumped out to me. And I don't know how much of that is like, does he not that plus minus factors into penalty kill? It doesn't. Special teams,
Right.
but
That's the thing.
factor.
He's also a great penalty killer, and he
But
plays great
yeah,
defense.
Is he getting PK time? Is he getting power play time? And he has 1 power play point this season. So he's doing this at even strength, which is generally a good indicator of overall play versus just are you scoring, but it's all power play. That's less sustainable to try and figure out, especially come playoffs.
Plus, he could be fun to send in Bedard's stead because he's got some moves. The game I went to last week on Tuesday, the first goal scored in that game we watched was this disgusting toe drag around the defender snipe from Jason Dickinson. And you're like all of us were like, that went in? Wait, he didn't lose the holy shit. And that's not the only time he's done that this year either.
That wasn't Bedard. That wasn't Taylor Hall.
Yeah,
that wasn't
exactly.
That wasn't Seth Jones even. Like we chirp Seth Jones a lot on this show. Like he's still like he's a damn moves in the offensive zone.
He is a phenomenal number 2 defenseman. But on a bad Hawks team, he has to be the number 1. And now he doesn't even need to be because Alex Vlasic has slowly become the number 1, at least from a defensive defenseman perspective.
What did I tell you when the Hawks took Vlasic?
I am so happy. I'm so happy.
I was like, you're going to love this guy. You are going to be so glad. And he's going to be a top 4, maybe even top 2 D-man in Chicago.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tangent your pick here. What are you doing?
I'm going to take Buffalo. Again,
it's honestly fair. I'm not gonna blame you.
I look at this Hawks injury report, and Zaitsev, Murphy, Foligno, Bedard, Beauvillier, Johnson, Hall, Athanasiou. That's a lot of guys to have out of the lineup for any team, but especially for a team that, Chicago. Is it fair to say their plan this year was you're expecting to be picking in the top 10, if not maybe even top 5 this year? That was the expectation going into the year. Is that fair to say that was what the expectation was for the Hawks this year?
What? Say that again.
So the expectation for Chicago going into this year was you're going to be picking top 10, if not top 5.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I actually, if you go back to the older shows, I think Mark, long pod tonight, absolutely.
Yeah. What did I tell you, Joel? You were like,
I don't know.
We're going over.
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in our season preview show, I said top 8. That was my guess, and it's absolutely going to be top 8. There's no way in hell it's not top 8. Hell, at this point,
unreal push from Bedard down the stretch. Barring that,
and what stretch? I mean, he won't be back until sometime in February.
Yeah, we figure like March 3rd was like when he would be back.
That's the long. That's the long tail too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. I don't want him to rush back from this injury. Because as much as we've talked about it, I want him to win the Calder. Do not rush him back just to win a piece of individual hardware. I don't.
Not only that, but for a shot at the Calder, because if he gets hurt again,
exactly,
he's got no shot.
Exactly, and there's not. It doesn't necessarily. I've seen the articles. He still has a chance to win it if he comes back, which I'm sure he will continue his production when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't want to risk just for the Calder. Like the Calder, I think he'd tell you too. That's not what he's here for. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, ask Connor McDavid how he feels about not winning the Calder.
right?
He
Like,
doesn't worry about it. He's got enough other hardware.
he could give a shit.
Yeah. He wants a cup. That's all he's concerned
That's all
about.
he cares about. And yeah, maybe in the back of his mind, he wants a Hart and an Art Ross and such. But even
Which
still,
again,
like,
he has. So
oh, I'm talking Bedard, but
Bedard,
yes,
yeah. But that's all secondary to winning a cup.
Exactly. So I don't blame you. So now to recap, Dan, you are taking Buffalo to -1.5. I'm taking the Hawks to cover.
I don't feel great about that Buffalo -1.5.
You should. The only reason you shouldn't is because Peter Mrazek has been so hot lately.
But again, that's why I'm saying that he's played well in the Sabres.
And I think Seth Jones might be playing tomorrow. I don't remember. I could be wrong.
On the injury report that I just read off.
So so Seth Jones should be back, and his presence missing has been felt. So, so you're taking Sabres. I'm taking the Hawks. You are taking the Rangers. I am taking the Golden Knights. We are both taking the Bruins. Mark, don't let your bees let us down. And we are both taking the Lightning. Sorry, Dan, that's pretty easy.
I mean, it's not the first time I've picked against the Wild on this show, and I like to think I know my team. I don't feel confident. 2-7-1 in your last 10, and some real stinkers in there. Blowing a 3-1 lead against Philly, that sucked. Losing 6-0 at home to Arizona and Matt Dumba's return sucked. I love my team. They're really, really going through it right now. And frankly, I think just for the long-term benefit of the organization, knowing you've got 15 mil in dead cap this year and next year, it's okay to be bad. Like, yeah, it sucks. We want to see a winning team. We want to win. But for the long-run future of the team, it might be better to be in a position where you get a top 5 pick this year or next, because once the buyout window is up, the expectation is you are in the conference finals year 1 once the buyout is up, because then you'll have had the time to draft and develop everybody. Kaprizov will be in his prime. Boldy will be in his prime. Falstead will be up. Rossi will be doing his thing. That is the expected window to compete. Accept being bad this year and next. Get the talent, and then the window's wide open after that.
And then you lather, rinse, repeat in 26 and 27, and you run into the Hawks and they knock you out.
That's probably what's going to happen. Minnesota sports misery. Let me show you.
No. Back that statement up. Minnesota sports misery. Were you going to say runs through Chicago? Because your hockey misery runs through Chicago.
I was going to say, look at the Instagram story I posted today. You might not be able to read that. Minnesota sports misery is unparalleled. 25 years ago today, Gary Anderson, wide left, his only miss of the entire season.
Yeah, I thought. So I thought you were going to say Minnesota sports misery runs through Chicago, and I'm like, yeah, for hockey.
Hockey, it does, but
that's it.
Shoot.
The Twins.
NFL, it runs through Dallas, it runs through Philadelphia, it runs through New Orleans. Yeah, and of course runs through Green Bay.
I was like, I'm sorry, no one knows football misery like Chicago Bears fans.
Shut up. You have a Super Bowl win.
Not in my lifetime. I am done thinking about 1985 because I
played in a Super Bowl in your lifetime. I was
even born for 11 years before that.
Vikings hadn't been to a Super Bowl since 1976.
I don't care. You weren't born, neither was I. It means nothing.
My headphones are falling out because I don't have time to listen to that.
Yeah, I don't care. I would much rather be in the playoffs like your team has been countless times in the 29 years of my life. And you've had 4,000-yard passers, God knows how long, and your team has existed for how many years? How long have the Vikings been around?
Almost as long as Chicago, but not as long as Chicago.
So not quite 98 years. Our 100-year anniversary is in 2026. How many 4,000-yard passers have the Bears had?
I know it's zero.
A giant, fat fucking goose egg.
Guess what? You still managed to get a Super Bowl.
I didn't manage to get shit. I wasn't
Your
born
team
yet.
did.
I wasn't born yet. It means nothing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You still got
No,
one.
it does matter.
No.
It means absolutely nothing when I wasn't there to enjoy it. That's how it works. And yeah, I get it. I'll give you the one other fact is that, yes, we made it to a Super Bowl, but we lost. Because why? We're cursed at QB. Our QB sucked, and we ran into Peyton Manning, so I can't be too mad about that. But I don't want to hear it. When it comes to football life, you have it way better.
We're never going to be able to agree on this. And because not only that, but you also have the Hawks that you can fall back on.
I'm not talking.
The Cubs, the White Sox.
I'm not.
The Bears are the only team in that city that in your lifetime has not won a championship.
I agree. I'm not saying
they're the only one who hasn't.
I never
in my lifetime. I have never seen a Minnesota team play in a championship.
But you're going to a completely different planet. I said football specifically. When it comes to obvious regular sports, I agree. Minnesota has it worse. Of course, I know we've been spoiled. We had the best NBA team to ever live.
Remember when you said the Hawks were starved for a superstar?
We have been for 2 years.
That's where we're going to end the show for tonight. Thanks to everybody who tuned in throughout the show. As a reminder, you can catch us on demand, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're also on Facebook and on Twitch. Just search for Pod Snipe Celly. We should be the first one that pops up when you see any of those.
Hey, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please.
But yes,
subscribe.
That's the big one.
Hit the notification bell. I've always wanted to say that. And now that we're going to start moving towards YouTube a little more, I'm going to start saying it more. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Give us subscribe, follow, whatever it is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. Hell, give us a 4-star review if there's something you don't like.
Tell us why.
Yeah, tell us why.
Tell us why so we can get it a 5-star.
Exactly. We will fix it if you give us anything lower than a 5-star. I promise you that. What else? What else am I not covering? I don't know. Follow our Twitter account. Follow me on Twitter. Dan is doing the smart thing, and he's still off Twitter. One of these days, I'll probably do the same thing because Twitter is a cesspool of shit now. But whatever.
Sucked. Yeah.
If it's gonna push the show, I'll keep it.
I miss the people on Twitter. I do not miss the platform at all. But that's that.
You shouldn't. Also, thank you to everybody for tuning in. This is the 3rd week in a row we've hit double-digit live views.
So, yeah, and we love
4th week in a row, whatever it is now. I don't know.
We love the fact that we get to be a live podcast and have these interactions in real time. So we always appreciate that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you the same time next week, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy your night, everybody.